The Clippers. The Clippers had they had a pretty good, weekend from Friday. They had a pretty good weekend from Friday, right? You already know. They played last night. They played the Pistons. They played the Pistons, and then the night before that, they played the Rockets, because the last game I talked about was the Suns, which was, I'm pretty sure, was Thursday. But they beat the Rockets, obviously they basically kind of blew them out. They turned it around. There was no PG in that game, and Kawhi went to work. And then, this game they had the Pistons. They had the Pistons, and that one was a struggle. Kawhi didn't play that game. That one was a struggle, right? There was a struggle. They shot well, though, from the field. It was not a struggle, like, offensively. They shot 63% from the field, 57 from three, you know what I'm saying? But the struggle was defensively, right? The Pistons shot 53% from the field themselves and 47 from the three. So, obviously, you don't want to ever see that. You don't want to ever see that, right? Because, again, locking up is part of especially when the Clippers win, pretty, handedly, is when they actually lock up, especially on the perimeter. They lock up and they make it a struggle, right? The Pistons, the perimeter players, everybody was just eating. And Josh Jackson was going to work. I really like Josh Jackson's game. A lot of people were shitting on him and stuff like that because he bounced the 1-2 teams and all that type of stuff. But, like, he's finding his niche. They didn't have Jeremy Grant, so he's now elevated his usage. But, I like his ability at the end of the day. I like it. And I've always liked it. I know that he struggled, but he was trying to find his way. I'm never mad at a guy struggling from Arsenal. I'm never mad at that. Eventually, you're going to figure it out. Eventually, the confidence will stay there, because the fact that you're taking those takes anyways when, people think you shouldn't be, shows you already have extreme confidence. So it's not necessarily confidence. It's necessarily just the efficiency that will only improve with comfortability. That will only improve with being more seasoned. That will, all of that, those butterflies, all of that will remove. So you already have confidence is not the issue. More so is the issue for someone where you might not ever see them get to that level of play is someone who lacks confidence, right? It's hard to gain confidence in the NBA or in any profession. It's hard to just get confidence. Some people, they always will lack confidence, right? But gaining confidence is something that's like, can you do it? Can you not? I don't know, right? But someone who's already confident off the jump, I never have worries for them. It's more so situation. Right? So that's kind of what was happening with Josh Jackson. So I like to see that he's putting in that work, you know what I mean? And putting in that work. So you like to always see that. But, that's a lot of the things that the casuals, the medias don't ever, they don't ever subscribe to or pay attention to. They don't understand that aspect of basketball. And that's where we say being authentic to the game and understanding those things. Only the people that played actually can understand that, right? They can actually understand what goes into that kind of like, being in those type of trenches, that type of mindset, how that affects your play, usage, like all of those things. Like there's so much that goes into that they just erase and just sum it all down to numbers and, the results of this game and the results of these misses. That's it. And, you got to be able to have an advanced IQ or just, understanding to actually go past that and have deep level context. So that's what I'm here for at the end of the day. And that's what I like to discuss, because the general public don't do that, right? The general public don't do that. So, Josh Jackson, I like how he's increasing with that. And, you love to see it. I always love to see hoopers, real hoopers, and just improve their situation and then end up getting the bag and just changing narratives. I always love that. And that's one of the most things I love about basketball anyways, right? So now the Clippers, right? They're facing the Pistons. Like I said, no Kawhi and PG. You're seeing the flow with him. You see that his toe, he's starting to get more acclimated, starting to get more health, right? More healthy. And, you could see it in his play, the pep in his step. You could see it in his bounce, right? Before he was more grounded on layups, more grounded on even dunk attempts. And he was struggling with his finishes in the paint. Now you're seeing him more acrobatic layups. You're seeing more, like, even his shot when he was struggling, he's guaranteed in the paint. He was guaranteed in the paint. Wrong foot lays, that one reverse up and under crazy layup he did, with abilities, wrong hand or wrong foot, whatever, and then same side, and then also punching, on Isaiah Stewart, welcome to the league, young boy, young gun, young blood, you know what I'm saying? Just basically doing that. You just see that aggression, that bounce is coming with his health, right? So not only that, then you see his flow. You see the flow with the Clippers. The flow is not necessarily too much different, even with Kawhi out. And this is why I was trying to say, like, you could see when Marcus Morris is still getting his buckets. He's ISOing here and there, but his ISO isn't the same type of ISO he was normally doing, where it's like at the elbow doing the Kawhi ISOs. He's normally ISO within the flow. He gets it. There's not a one more fake pass or get it now, jab step, escape, right? Off the flow, off the movement, off the flow, getting it within the game, looking more like a KD, right? KD don't just sit there ISO 24/7. He gets it within the flow of the offense, and that's how Marcus Morris was scoring. And that type of flow is something you're starting to see, kind of just continuously have. It's due to their pace, their space, and just the tempo itself. They're starting to not slow the game and just always ISO. They ISO if their flow is kind of cut off. Then obviously you're going to have ISOs within the game. It's NBA, it's basketball, right? Things are going to get cut off, and, they're going to have good defense at a time, and then now it ends up being an ISO. You get a switch. You want to abuse that mismatch, right? But I'm talking about just in general the flow. If that's all you're always doing and it's always low clock ISO situations, your tempo is slow, and that's all you're doing. Now you cut off the flow, right? There's not a proper flow. ISOing is never the issue. It's when you ISO and how much ISO do you get, and is it in the flow? And that's what Marcus Morris was doing, was in the flow. Paul George, you already know he's doing it within the flow. Kennard is doing his 5 for 6. They're running flow for him. You're starting to see efficiency. Rondo's going to transition, push, and get assists in those situations. So you just see the flow was just there. Their tempo was just there. Hence the 131. Hence the, the proper percentages. Hence the, the 3-point percentages. All of that. When they have proper flow, they normally naturally shoot with the best of them and lead the league in shooting. They always have great shooting games, right? It's the same thing you see with the Nets. When they have the flow, like those teams are more so comparable in their offensive output in terms of flow. Their flow, when they have flow, they're mainly kind of unguardable, right? So that's what's relative. But now, that's what I was trying to say. Rondo isn't the main or most impactful X factor type of player for the Clippers. I was saying Pat Bev is, because even with their flow, they'll be in a close game, which they shouldn't be. They should be blowing out. But what happens? Their defense isn't at the same level, as intense as their flow is. And that's where the defensive intensity is normally dictated by Pat Bev's presence. And that's why I was saying he's the most X-factor, impactful player for the Clippers, because once he starts and has that intensity on defense and has that, it kind of has a chain reaction to everybody else. Now you have guys who are already dogs on defense like Kawhi, PG, Rondo. Everyone increases their intensity, and that's where now you see strapped defensively. They look like a complete whole different team because they're strapping defensively and their flow is still the same offensively. Now you see the blowouts. Now you see the output and the change in actually just the differential in points. You see it, right? And that's more so dictated from their defensive side of the ball, and their defense, kind of impact and switchability, aggressiveness, verticality in the paint, all of that type of stuff is dictated from just Pat Bev's presence in terms of their intensity. So, that's why I was saying what I was saying. But again, they ended up at the right time, locked in and defended, right? And then they turned it around. They were close and even lose a majority of the game. Then they turned around at the beginning of the fourth with the bench unit. When PG wasn't in, they turned it around, came in tie, and then PG ended up closing with, they ended up closing with the Rondo, with the Marcus Morris, and with that lineup, and putting in that work, you know what I'm saying, and turning it around. So that's the one thing that people underestimate with the Clippers. They're actually deep enough that, like, Kawhi's out or PG's out. Now you have Luke Kennard step up in more so of a better role. And then you have Marcus Morris, who could just get buckets with the best of them, like 13 for 18, 33 points. Is it 33? 33 points, 6 for 8 from the 3, 30 from 18 from the field, like Arsenal buckets, like not just spot up. You look at that, like he's just frying, man. He's frying, and then you have PG, who's also playing better as well, 32 points, 12 for 25. You know what I mean? Obviously, he didn't do great from 3, 1 for 3, but that don't matter. He was still aggressive, continuously being aggressive, started attacking when the shot wasn't falling. And, even going through calls, even when he's mad that he's not getting certain calls and he's not getting this and that in the third, he's still continuously being aggressive and continuously putting pressure on the refs and putting pressure on the defense. So, I liked what I saw. I obviously liked what I saw. And, that was a great win. Their next game is versus the Pacers. I'm pretty sure that's a Tuesday game. TNT Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure that's a Tuesday game. But, that's what you got to see. Let's check, make sure. Facing the Pacers. The Pacers, they have Karis LeVert. They have those guys. Yeah, so tomorrow game, a Tuesday game on the road. The Pacers have, they still have, Karis LeVert. They have, Sabonis. They need to make a turnaround fully as well, too. They still have Turner. They still got Brogdon. And they got, they play solid. So, that's going to be a good game. I'm pretty sure Kawhi will be back for that game. But, I like what I saw from the Clippers. And I like how they're now in the last stretch. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at how do y'all play in the last stretch of games? How do y'all play, coming into the playoffs? Having your best basketball, playing your best intense basketball, your best flow basketball-wise in terms of assists. Like, look at their assists. They had 37 assists, right? So when you look at that flow, that aggression on defense, their flow, that's the best pinnacle of basketball and the best tier of basketball you can see the Clippers playing. Elite offensive flow, right? Everyone hitting shots, and then defensively, everyone rotating at great defensive intensity and stuff like that. Switchability, great communication, not lost in limbo, everyone on the same page, swinging on a string. When you have that, that's the best pinnacle of Clippers basketball, right? That's the best tier, and you want to be at that going into your last 5 games, last 10 games, last game before you get to the playoffs, because now you're in a groove, and then it's going to be tough playoffs, especially in the West. It's going to be tough. You're going to have bad games. You're going to have games where other teams are frying because they have Arsenal. They have good talent, right? You want to be at that best mindset, flow, same page. So now when you go through adversity, you can still break out of it and still find a way to win because y'all are on the same page. You're still doing the same principles. You're still doing your identity, right? That's the teams that now go to the championship. Those are the teams that now win series. Those are the teams that are now tough to beat. The identity, they don't waver. Yes, we might be hitting shots, but you still do your same things. You don't change. And that's where the worry is for the Clippers. When you go through adversity, ISO one-on-one, and then they're struggling. They're not all-world, KD, ISO guys that it don't matter if they do that. They could do that. Break the mold, Kyrie. Go ahead and do your one-on-one. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? They have the guys that sometimes could be a struggle with that. If you have the right defender on him and they're kind of off or whatever, they're not going to move the same always, right? Then now that's now going to make Marcus Morris do it. Now that's going to create a whole chain reaction. You don't want to do that. Now the good thing where you have Rondo, who is the ultimate leader, the ultimate guy that will get guys back into what they need to get back into. He's the coach on the court. What are y'all doing? No, stop it. Don't do that. Are you dumb? No. Give me the rock, then I'll facilitate. Enough is enough. You have that guy, so when it all fails, I have more trust and more security, right? But again, as a team, you want them to be at their best play and their best flow, health-wise too as well. Knees for Kawhi, health for PG's toes. Rondo sometimes gets a random injury, right? You want health, flow, defense, all at his top tier, at this highest pinnacle, and we go from there. And that's what I'm waiting to see during these last stretch of games. And you're already seeing it, but I'm waiting to just continuously just see it with the eye test and see how it pans out. You know what I mean? So, at the end of the day, that's what elite looks like. And, we'll keep going. We keep pushing. You already know, man. I appreciate y'all. It's True Talks, because True Talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? It's what elite looks like, man. I like what I saw from them on the weekend. I like what I saw in general. You get what I'm saying? And, it's just what elite looks like. It's what elite looks like. And we'll see how it kind of, how things transpire and how things pan out. We got some crucial games this week. You know what I'm saying? We'll continuously, this new format, we'll continuously do it. And this is what we doing. So I appreciate y'all, tune in. And if, again, y'all can't or don't want to, or, while you're driving, watch off the YouTube, you could as well go to whatever, a podcast platform you deal with. And it should be there. I'm pretty sure it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor as well. I'm not too sure. There might be other platforms, but, those are the main ones. So you go through there, and the podcast for the full, the full episode for the day will be up there when these videos launch at the same time. So, go check that out, and, you could choose each one. It's up to you, right? So I appreciate the support. I appreciate y'all in general. Thank you for coming for that IQ, because that's what I do. You already know, man. It's what elite looks like. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget that. Share, like, and subscribe. Click that notification so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all, man. You already know. And I'm out, man.